Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 341. The title of today's lesson is The Difference Between Middle Age and the Middle Ages. Sometimes students will get confused between these two terms. I see it in writing a little bit more than in regular speech, but you could find it both ways. All right, let's continue. Let's look at middle age first. Now, middle age, that's part of our lifespan. So middle age is the period of one's life that starts around one's mid-30s and goes up to about the age of 60 or retirement age. It could vary slightly. Some dictionaries may have it start at 30. I've even seen some dictionaries have it start at 40. But basically, it's around the mid-30s, right up to about 60, I would say. That's generally the area most often that is thought of as middle age. Okay. All right, now let's look at the Middle Ages. Now, the Middle Ages is a historical time period. So, a couple of things. One, we usually almost always use a "the" with it. And the age has to be ages. It has to be plural. And the M and the A is capitalized. Time periods are capitalized. So, the Middle Ages was a time period in Europe around 1100 to 1500 AD. Some people and dictionaries, because sometimes there is a variance in dictionaries. They don't always completely agree. Include the Dark Ages as part of the Middle Ages. So sometimes you look in a dictionary and they'll just say the Middle Ages from 1100 to 1500 AD. Some include the Dark Ages as part of the Middle Ages. Now, what was the Dark Ages? The Dark Ages would be the earlier part. That's the part right after the Roman Empire collapsed. And Rome, or all of Europe at that time, was in chaos. So a lot of records were lost. We lost a lot of history during that time. So when they call it the Dark Ages, that's why they call it the Dark Ages, because there's a lot we don't know about it. We didn't lose all of the history, of course, but ironically, we know a lot more about the Greek and the Roman history than this early period of the Middle Ages, because so many records were lost. So that's why they called it the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages. Yeah, remember being the earlier part of the Middle Ages. Okay, it's also good to note this. The adjective for Middle Ages is medieval, because sometimes students will make a mistake like that. They may also think Middle Age is an adjective for Middle Ages. No, the adjective for Middle Ages is medieval. Okay, let's continue. All right, so let's give some examples where some students might mess up, where you might make a mistake. With the X, this is wrong. The Black Plague dates back to the Middle Age. No. The Black Plague dates back to the Middle Ages. Here you want this historical time period. So it's definitely not the Middle Age here. Okay. All right, let's also note this. Remember, Middle Age is a noun phrase. When you hit middle age, your metabolism starts to slow down and it is more difficult to lose weight. Yeah, we often kind of cover this, or I've often talked about this in class. Usually when you hit around 30, you start to notice that it's not as easy as it used to be to lose weight. And then as you get a little older, your metabolism slows a little more. So when you hit 40 or if you hit 50, it seems to keep slowing a little bit more, and it gets more and more difficult if you put on some weight to get the weight off. Like when you were very young and in your youth, all you could do is just, skip a meal or do a little bit more exercise and the weight is gone. It's not quite the same when you are when you're in your middle age, basically, or when you become a middle-aged person. Okay, let's continue here. Let's also look at the note. It is important to note middle age is a noun phrase, just like I said, and not an adjective. Just like I said, sometimes students will use it as an adjective. The adjective would be middle-aged. Okay. So, again, here's an X where this could be wrong. The suspect was a middle-aged man. No, you have to say the suspect was a middle-aged man. So the adjective of middle age is middle-aged. The adjective of the Middle Ages is medieval. Okay. I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.